So this session is a combination of some concepts. So we will go through slides as well as do some demos. So majority of this will be demo because just to show you how to resolve MIDS, ERDs, and CCEs. Okay. So I have a question. What is the SSID anomaly? So essentially, SSID anomaly is a problem obviously involving SSID enrollment. So there are discrepancies in the enrollment based on maybe overlapping enrollments with another LEA, or the exits that indicated for a student is invalid and against the business rules of CalPADS, and so it triggers an ERD, as well as a student has been assigned more than one SSID. So the cardinal rule in CalPADS is a student should only have one SSID throughout their lifetime. So if a student has multiple SSIDs, then of course it is considered an anomaly. And unlike prior years when anomalies are detected overnight, so you make changes in your enrollment today, the overnight process runs, and then tomorrow the anomalies are detected. That is no longer the case since any changes in the SCNR as well as the SINF that goes with it is detected by the system, and the anomalies detection happens real time. So the process now runs similar to a DD or data discrepancy error. Okay, so we will discuss that later on and be able to show you what that process is. So the SSID anomalies may impact your LEA certification. So if you have more than 2% of anomalies, which is composed of MIDS and CCEs, if more than 2% are MIDS and CCEs, then CalPAS will trigger a Cert 40 and prevent you from certifying. So it is important that you resolve MIDS and CCEs throughout the submission window. So I mentioned something about the changes in the anomaly detection. So if you recall, and if you've attended the previous report and certification session, we have this slide where we discuss input process, and then it goes through this section here about reports, DDs, and of course we have our real-time anomaly, and then it goes throughout the SELPA section and certification. So this is the entire process of work that you should expect for fall one. However, since this is the anomaly detection, we will just focus on this part here, your real-time anomaly detection. In prior years, as I've mentioned, anomalies are detected and processed overnight. However, because of the change in the post-redesign process, we now have, of course, the data discrepancy running real-time as well as the anomaly detection. So once you have an SCNR posted and CalPAS detects it, it will put it in queue for detection process, and there is a probability that if a discrepancy is detected, it will offer you that discrepancy within the day for you guys to be able to see and resolve. But of course, it all boils down to the volume of files or records being detected. And so just like your CDDs that you resolve in your certification process, the anomaly detection also depends on that amount of records as well as the wait time. Okay. All right, so why do we need to resolve anomalies? For those who are seasoned veterans, why do we need to resolve anomalies beyond just resolving or avoiding the 2% anomaly threshold? So we can certify that's what else aside from the 2%? Clean and accurate data, that's right. So why do we need to resolve anomalies? EL testing, okay. You guys are pros. So yeah, we resolve anomalies because number one, of course, we need to maintain just one SSID for a student for their entire California enrollment period, okay? This is why we always harp on making sure that you do your SSID matching process, you do your due diligence when picking an SSID, because once you may have submitted multiple files for a student, then you generate a, multiple SSIDs for that student. So number two, when you resolve anomalies, let's say a CCE or a mid or any of those anomalies, you then make sure that you gain a clear and sole ownership of an SSID for LCFF purposes, for TOMS that will be needed for LPAC and CASP testing. So if you have CCEs, then TOMS will get confused on who to associate that ownership to, right? And then, of course, you would be able to properly report completers and dropouts in the current academic year or even prior academic year. So if you make corrections to your exits from last year that might impact your dropout counts this year, then that would then be able to resolve those issues. And then, of course, the obvious reason, we maintain 0 or below 2% anomaly to certify. To be able to effectively resolve anomalies, you need to have a survival kit. Okay, so there are three modules here that you have to consider. Number one, you need to have first the user roles needed to be able to access the functionality as well as be able to edit enrollments. Okay, so for user roles, you need to have at least a student search to be able to see the SSID or search for that student's record in CalPads. You need to have the SCNR edit and view roles to be able to um, edit an enrollment, which is vital in, of course, resolving anomalies. You need to have the anomaly contact role to be able to access some of the functionalities that is just um, available for anomalies, which is the anomaly management section. And then this would also allow others to be able to see you as the anomaly contact for your LEA, so that just in case they need to reach out to your LEA, they can email you directly. And then, of course, you have your SINF view, which is the demographics. It allows you to be able to see the demographic record of students and be able to see if the student has, just to be able to match their demographics and make sure that that student is the student that you are gaining ownership. Okay, so if that's a real student that you have, so you could match their parent guardian info, you could match their birth date, their residence, their address to see if that's the SSID that you need to pick out or pick up. Okay, so these are just basic or bare minimum requirements to manage anomalies. Of course, if you want to go into the details of managing other stuff within the anomalies, you need to have your SILA edit and view rows as well to be able to edit a SILA record that you probably may need to edit before combining mids. We will discuss that as well during the mid process, right? And then, of course, for documentation, you need to have the code sets, obviously, to see the different exit codes that might be appropriate for a student. You also need to check what type of enrollment should you use for an SSID that might prevent you from creating a CCE or concurrent enrollment. Then, of course, you have your SSID enrollment procedure. This is an old document. It's not CDE CalPad's website. However, it is found here under the footer. So you have the SSID enrollment procedures document. It provides you a, clicking on it will provide you guidance in terms of, okay, how do I resolve CCEs? There is an anomaly section on that page if it loads up. And it should help you at least be able to have a basic knowledge on the enrollment type procedures and rules. Okay. And then, of course, you have the CalPads user manual, which you can access within CalPads under the help section. And it has a wealth of knowledge or wealth of information with regards to the enrollment procedures and also the anomaly section. So if you then go to help, go to the user manual, it brings you here. So the user manual functionality map just mimics the section here. So if you go to online maintenance, it goes to anomalies management, and you should be able to see all of the information I will be presenting today, right? And then you have your data guide. Data guide appendix B provides you a table of the exit codes and when it is appropriate to be used. Okay. And then for SPED, you have the reporting data for students with disabilities. The reason why we show you this is because this will also give us some knowledge with regards to what enrollment type you should be using. So if it's a preschooler, right? It's a primary. If it's a TK or someone on an ISP, then that would be a 50 or some other enrollment code. So if you go to references and go to reporting data for students with disabilities and click on this, it should give you this nifty table here. And if you want to have a spreadsheet version of that, you could just scroll to the bottom and download this. Okay. All right. And then, of course, you need to be added to the anomaly contact list, right? So to be able to, for LAs to contact you, there are two ways to put your name out there in the open. First is to assign yourself the anomaly contact role. And of course, to contact CSIS, send in a service desk asking you to be the LA contact person under the CSIS LA contact lookup tool. So if you go to the CSIS website where you downloaded the PowerPoint for today's presentation, if you go to the CSIS website here, there is this button here that says Find CalPAD's LEA contacts. This might not be the anomaly contact, but this is essentially the contact person that people can reach out to should they need anything from that LEA. So if the anomaly contact on the CalPAD side isn't responding, you could also check them in here. So let's say ABC Unified. So I have Alicia as the contact. Right? So if you need to change the person here, then you can always send in a ticket and we will update this section. All right. So that's just the essential tools you need to have to at least be able to be functional and effective and efficient in anomalies management. So now here's the bigger picture of the work involved, right? So, and this is also the framework of our training today. First, you need to assign the roles to the person who will be managing your anomalies. And then you review anomaly reports daily or weekly, depending on how mobile or how involved you are with your CalPAS work. And then you monitor and resolve MIDs, CCEs, and ERDs. And that normally entails you coordinating with other LEAs as well. If you have other LEA involved, then you have to go into the anomaly contact section and also CSIS lookup to reach out to that person. Okay, so it is important that if that your anomaly contacts or have a good relationship with folks in and around your area. So it's not just about your district, it could be your neighboring district or the county or maybe a district 30 miles away. So I mean, you're in a close proximity with other districts. So it is important to have a good working relationship with them. Okay. And then of course, you now have to check the anomaly percentage that shows up on your certification page, right? For Fall 1. Fall 1 will allow you to certify if the anomaly percentage is below 2%. If your anomaly percentage is above 2%, then obviously it will trigger a Cert 4. and will prevent you from certifying. So the goal is be able to bring down your anomaly percent to below 2%, or if better yet, make it zero. But sometimes there are occasions where maybe it's it's difficult to resolve a CCE with a different LEA. Maybe you have a student who is under the custody of two parents, and that student goes back and forth to two different districts. So there are those instances where a student will have two primary enrollments, and that's fine. If that's the case, then if not, then you could essentially work with the other LEA in terms of this issue. So this is the big picture, and this will be the framework of today's training, right? So checking anomalies. So let's just go to the CalPADS website. Okay, so when you are logged in and you have the anomaly contact role, on the CalPADS homepage, there are ways to be able to check your anomalies. On the homepage, number one, you should see the anomaly status tab here. So if you click on that, it brings up this section here. You have the anomalies for this current year and those in the next year. Okay. And you have here the CCEs, ERDs. And so right now, I have 8.82% of percentage anomaly, which obviously is too high and will prevent me from certifying. So I can click on this and it should bring up the CalPADS, okay, anomaly report. Okay, while waiting for that, let's go back here. Oh, that was quick. Okay, while waiting for this, the other way to look at your anomalies is obviously going to the anomalies management tool. Okay, because sometimes CalPADS reports run really slow. And so you should have this right now. So you have 18 mids, you have 17 CCEs, or 17 enrollments, 3 anomalies, 4 ERDs. So this 7 accounts for 8.82% of the enrollment. And so expect a cert 40 for this. Okay. So this is one way to view anomalies. The other way is going to online maintenance, going to anomaly management, and clicking on each of these tabs here, right? So I will be able to see the mid resolution section where you have the buttons for the different functionalities. I am also able to see the SSIDs that trigger a mid. I also have here SSIDs that trigger CCEs. And I have the SSIDs that trigger ERDs. Okay, once this loads up, we should be able to see it here. Okay, so we will discuss each of these modules in a few minutes. Okay, so that's how to access the anomaly section or information. Now, to resolve anomalies, there are three basic processes. One is to go online and manage the enrollment record that needs to be resolved, right? Search for the SSID online, edit the enrollment record, and that should resolve it. Number two is to go to the anomaly section and manage your mids and functionalities that way. So in your mids, there is a functionality where you can combine or disregard a mid detection. And so by just clicking on each of those buttons, that would allow you to manage your anomaly. Okay. And then the third, of course, is to if you have multiple anomalies, then you can submit an SCNR batch file to CalPADS, and that should resolve a volume of anomalies that you have. So what are the anomaly roles again that we need to at least add to a user? The minimum ones, you have your anomaly contact, SCNR edit, view, SCNR view, SINF view, and student search. And I think because of the changes this year, it is also important that you probably have to add the SILA edit role and SILA view role for a user, okay? Because I will explain later why you have to do this. Assigning anomaly roles to a user should be managed by the LEA admin. So if you're a CalPads person attending this session and you have the LEA admin, this is a pretty straightforward process for you. So again, just go to admin here, go to user management, search for that user, and then edit the roles. Okay. Now, if you are not the LEA admin, then and you want another person to be an anomaly contact, then reach out to your LEA admin to do that. So this is just the process that would allow you to do that. So just go in and search for the SSID, for the username of the CalPads user, and then just assign those roles and then save and close. Okay. And then, of course, if you want to take off the anomaly role from a user, maybe a user already retired, part of the management of or housekeeping at the end of the year is making sure that users who left your district has has to have the roles taken out from their account. Okay. So you can do that by just going, again, searching for the user and then managing the roles. Because if you forget to do this, chances are users may still be trying to communicate to a person who is no longer part of your organization. Okay. All right, so here are some best practices, okay, with the anomaly contact. Number one, you may assign multiple users as anomaly contacts to spread out the work. If you are a big district and you want your school users, school secretaries to manage the anomalies, because of course they have easier access and knowledge of all of the students at their site, then of course you can assign that role to them. Okay. Inversely, if you just want one person to be the anomaly contact, let's say you have a help desk account and that help desk account routes all of the ticket to different users, you can also use that, assign that as the anomaly contact. You just have to create that user in CalPads and assign that help desk user account to as the anomaly contact. And then once that the email goes to your ticketing system, that ticketing system will then alert whoever is assigned to that role. You can also do this you can also assign the help desk user account to the CSIS contact lookup page here as the lookup person or a contact person. Okay, you can send in a ticket and we will gladly create a new account, a new contact person, and assign that as the CSIS lookup contact person for your district. And then, of course, when you request the CSIS support to modify or update your CSIS LA lookup contact, make sure that you indicate the phone number and also extension. Because sometimes it doesn't make sense to just send in the give us the phone number which of the district, the main phone number, and not the extension. It would be easier for us to be able to add the extension in, and then for the LEA admins to be able to input that extension on their phones as well when they call you. All right. So once you do that, then of course Marshall will be happy and his CSIS lookup database will be fine, and he'll say, definitely a piece of art, right? You guys nailed it, and your names will be included on the lookup tool. Because sometimes the reason why the LA lookup is missing LAs is because there is no assigned CSIS lookup contact in our database. And so make sure that you check your LA, check for your LA here, and the person who should be the contact person is the right person listed here.